invite Mr. Sanjeev Sinha. He is joining us from UK. He has done MBBS Honours, MS FRCS MRCGP. Sanjeev ji is a GP trainer and appraiser at Wolverhampton and Training Program Director of Health Education England. He is also serving as Vice President of British International Doctor Association and Treasurer of Local Medical Committee at Wolverhampton. So now may I kindly invite Sanjeev to explain about how one can build his career in medicine in UK. Sanjeev ji, please.
Thank you very much, Gautam. Yeah, guten Tag to all my friends in Germany, and a big hi to other friends in India and UK. So I'm gonna move forward and try to make it as simple and as interesting as possible. Though it's a vast topic talking about how to make a career in the UK at different stages of learning and training. Okay, yeah, like I said, it will be move on. It will be my pleasure to inform you about how to make a career in the UK. I'm sure. As opposed to Germany, there's a legacy between legacy relationship between India and UK, and that's how some of us got attracted towards joining a medical system in UK. Not that we wanted to stay here. I mean, I wanted to go back. I just wanted to have my postgrad and go back. But then things change, you form roots and whatnot. Okay, so how do you make a career in UK? I mean, to practice medicine in UK, you need to have a registration with General Medical Council, like any other country. You need to be registered with the governing body of that medical council of that country, and that's the primary requirement. Without that, it's impossible to work as a doctor in UK. And UK welcomes doctors of all grades and experiences. Next one, please. Okay, how do we get registered? I mean, I'm like I said, I'm going to make it more simple and more user friendly, so that it could be expanded. The different aspects could be expanded if you want, but I'm going to keep it more for a layman. So how do you get registered at GMC? Relevant for doctors who work from outside European Economic Area. I mean, I remember as EEU, but now it's EEA. A passing PLAB test. PLAB is a professional linguistic assessments board test, and that is a very common. That's probably the most common mode of joining general medical practice or working. Joining GMC and working and have the rights to work in UK. But there are other routes as well. And some of them are getting more popular now. I mean, there was a particular period when sponsorship were very, very difficult to come by. But it looks like in the last couple of years, there has been an acute shortage of doctors in the UK, and the sponsorship is back in vogue. So sponsorship by GMC approved medical body or a medical royal college. Where suitable, where the suitability of the candidates has been determined, can be approved by GMC as a registration. An acceptable postgraduate qualification. If there are certain qualifications in certain countries are accepted as eligible or at par by the GMC in UK. Unfortunately, in my understanding, there's none in India. No university in India has got postgrad qualification that is accepted here. There are a few from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and even in Pakistan, and of course, most of the countries from OECD, that is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. They have got a good relation with the UK, and some of their postgrad qualifications are accepted to be registered with the GMC without undergoing any other assessment. And eligibility for entry in the specialist or the GP register. So if you have done some sort of postgrad, not postgrad, if you have done some sort of membership exams, like part 1 of a Royal College of Physicians or even surgeons or other specialty, then you become eligible to be registered, because finding a job after that becomes slightly easier. Next one, please. Okay, so I think I'll talk about other things, but I felt yeah, 𝗏 was the most important thing to discuss about. So I'm going to tell you a little more, not in great detail, but give you some broad idea what this Professional Linguistic Assessments Board means. I mean, most of us took this exam. Some did not. But this is one important aspect of entry, which is fairly simple because for a lot of times this has been in place. It's been in place since 1975. So people in India who form a large number of this 𝗏 takers are fairly well aware. I mean, I come from back alley of India, from Bihar, where we hardly had any understanding what 𝗏 was. But I think interacting with a few people 20 years ago gave me enough information to take this exam. So yeah, okay. This is again, and as Dr. Mishra mentioned, you need to have a basic level of knowledge, which is at par with the foundation doctors in this country. Okay, I'll explain about foundation later on. Okay, Deepakji. Sorry, Dr. Mishra. I don't know. Maybe your name is very familiar to one of my family members or what. But Gautamji, I'm sorry if I mixed up names.
No, all good, all good.
So do you, I try not to speak very fast, but then, like I say, I'm very mindful of your time. You've been here for nearly more than 1.5 hours, so I'll try to make it as quick as possible. Okay, most international medical graduates probably need to take 𝗏, and the test will check what you know and can do the job of a doctor starting at second year of foundation program training in UK. In the UK, when after medical graduation, you do 2 years of foundation training, that is Foundation 1 and Foundation 2, and then after that you go into specialist training. If you go into general practice, you go for 3 years, and if you go into hospital training, you go into many years, depending on the specialty. A cardiothoracic surgeon or a cardiologist could take 10 years after that. What does the 𝗏 test involve? There are 2 parts to take the test, and one has to pass both tests. One is not good enough. And part 1 is written multiple choice exam with 180 single best answered questions. Most of them are not just straightforward questions, but they have got an element of situational judgment as well. So there are 180 single best answer questions. This used to be negative marking in past, but thankfully they have taken that off now. And after this, you take part 2, which is called, I'm sorry for that spelling mistake, it's called 𝗀𝗏𝐾. And 𝗀𝗏𝐾 is a practical exam, which is called objective structured clinical exam. And what do you need to take this 𝗏? I mean, you need to have an online account with the GMC to ensure that you're eligible and you satisfy the requirements of the governing body. Next one, please. Okay, so again, I hope my slides not too strong on your eyes. I've made it colorful just to keep it interesting.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. I like that feedback. Medical training could be very drab in this country now, so let's try to enliven it. It's 𝗏 1 is a 180, like I said, multiple choice questions, and it needs to be answered within 3 hours. Each starts with a short scenario, as I said, situational judgment assessments, followed by a question. You need to choose the right answer from the 5 possible answers given. And unfortunately, some of them may sound very, very similar. So a lot of practice and a good knowledge base is essential to take this exam. You can sit part 1 in several countries as well as in the UK. In India, there's quite a bit places, 8 or 9 of them, which allows you to take part 1. Of course, the metropolitans and some like Hyderabad and Bangalore are also hosting this exam. I would suggest Gautamji to get into a bit of politics and try to get into some of the northeastern states like Bihar. Okay, that's probably politics. The available venue and dates are available when you log on to the GMC online. It used to happen virtually every month, but during the COVID, there were some restrictions and not happened that many times. But I think they've opened it now, and it's happening about 4 times in the UK and several other overseas locations. Again, I'm only aware of India, but it is available in many many cities in the Indian subcontinent and even in the southeast. So the eligibility is you could take 4 attempts at part 1, and once you clear the exam, it is valid for 3 years. So you have to take the second stage of the assessment within those 3 years. So yeah, and you're only allowed, unfortunately, 4 attempts. There's no provision for 5 attempts at the moment, but who knows what happens in the future. And the fees at the moment is 239. I can't remember what I paid years ago. Probably it was half of that 20 years ago, but at the moment is close to £240. Next one, please. Now the part 2 is an objective structured clinical exam. This is more like people who have studied in India would know what those practical exams are. We used to see patients and would have a discussion with examiners. Here it's kind of similar. Yeah, there are 16 scenarios where you would be given certain objectives and you're assessed on that. Things like it could be as simple as, I wouldn't say simple, but something as common as counseling a patient to undergo a knee operation and give the patient enough information so that they consent to the operation. I'm sure Dr. Mishra keeps doing that very on a regular basis, but this is what could be one of the stations. But yeah, the multiple areas that is tested, including your communication skills, including your attitude, including your examination skills and things like that. And part 2 tests, sorry about that, no worries. Part 2 tests run throughout at Manchester and UK. When I did it many years ago, it was in London. Most of all the centers were in London, but I think they've moved it to Manchester. I'm sure you understand, for logistic reasons, and Manchester is slightly less expensive than London. And again, Manchester, there's a bigger Asian community there, and hence the scope of or the support to the doctors who want to take this exam is lots there. So once you come there, you would be very much supported in a lot of ways. Now, I don't work, but then I'm a member of an organization called British International Doctors Association, which understandably has got quite a good cloth in certain aspects of NHS, and education is one of them. And they do run support systems or support structures in Manchester. So if you have somebody coming to take part 2 in Manchester, you can get in touch with BIDA, and they would, I'm sure they would help you with a lot of logistics. I'm not sure about finances, but they would definitely help you with a lot of logistics. Again, the attempts are 4 attempts. You can't have a 5th attempt at the moment. So yeah, you need to clear it. I know nobody that has not cleared, who's been attempted PLAB exams and not got through the 4 attempts. So though they say 4 attempts, but it is not very disheartening. The first, majority of my friends, a majority of the people that I know, they got through in the first attempt. I did not, but I certainly was wiser after the first failed attempt and used that as those to understand my gaps in knowledge, and subsequently wasn't a problem. The fees is again, these are one of the limiting factors. I mean, it's for Dr. Kanhaiya, £875 is like 875 rupees, but then 875 pounds is a lot of money in Indian rupees. Yeah. Okay, next one, please. There are other routes to register with GMC that I did allude to earlier on. There's like I said, there's a new scheme that we are involved with that is called Medical Training Initiative. These are 2 years of training, and these are sponsored through various royal colleges. This is essentially, it allows trainees, doctors from countries outside the EEA, and they're designed to allow the trainees for a maximum of 24 hours so that they can benefit from the training and development in NHS service before returning back to their home countries. So this is not for, if you register through this, then there is a responsibility to go back to your own country. The primary benefits, as the politicians or the system suggests, is that benefits the doctor from Department of International Development or low income, low middle income countries as defined by World Bank. So this is basically to help the workforce of certain developing countries. That's the politics. But what I understand is it also benefits the doctor crunch that we have in the UK. But yeah, it's a two-year contract, and after that, the responsibility to go back. But I don't know if there is a way to circumvent and you stay in UK, because if you are registered with GMC, it is very difficult to not discriminate you from applying and get a job. Okay, GMC sponsoring bodies. A lot of universities and some teaching universities, hospital run fellowship courses. There are many. Again, you need to go to the website to know what universities do. I mean, I can give you just an example. Dundee organizes MCH for orthopedics. Liverpool University organizes MCH, and there, like I said, there are many. I'm sure there are a few in Birmingham as well. And they don't necessarily have to go through PLAB. You do the course, and you have the same same privileges as a doctor working in UK. And as I mentioned earlier on, if you do your membership exam, the various Royal Colleges, then you get registered without going through PLAB. And this is a new scheme. Again, I'm not very aware of this, but sponsored by recognized university in the home country for higher studies, for PhD and all. I wouldn't have much information about this. Again, I can signpost you to the website, and there are certain universities. I'm sure there are no universities in Bihar that sponsors you for a PhD in the UK, but I'm sure there would be a few in some of the advanced medical centers in maybe South India or maybe even North India. All right, okay, Gautam, next one. A job situation. I don't know why Gautam asked me to talk about job situation. UK is always short of doctors. Unlike in Germany probably, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to go and talk to Dr. Mishra later on. What is the job situation there? Because we do get a lot of German doctors coming and working as in accident and emergency, as we call it. Now it's called emergency department, and even in general practice. So yeah, I would like to know that. But yeah, UK is always short of doctors. It has always been, and that's one of the reasons IMGs, as we are called, or we call ourselves, international medical graduates, form nearly 1/3 of the workforce of this country. So if there are 100 doctors, there would be 30 of them coming from international. They are coming from international colleges or other countries, and a large number of them are from the Indian subcontinent. And again, from that, bigger percentages from India. But again, there's quite a few from Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Yeah. So, okay. Now I think is there something else that I missed? Previous one? Yeah. No, you're right. No, the number is an arbitrary. It's just something that I picked up from one of the newspaper. The politicians keep mentioning that we need 5,000 GPs every year. We need 8,000 consultants every year, and that's one of the reasons that the incoming doesn't match the outgoing. It's an older generation of doctors who came in 60s, 70s. They came in a good number then, but in the last 5-10 years, there are not many that we see that come to UK anymore. So there's always a short of doctors in any field that you can imagine. And
there is always a very common question that people ask, that if I want to study in Germany or UK, what is the future? So how difficult and easy is to get the job? So that was the reason that I asked you also, and also Deepak, to emphasize on this. Question keeps coming.
Okay, cool. No, that's understandable. Once you are registered with GMC, I don't think there is a problem getting a job. Yeah, would it be that of your choice? That is debatable, but job is never a problem here.
Great. Sorry.
Okay. So why?
Because yeah.
Now, next one, please.
Yeah, sorry.
So why study MBBS in the UK? I mean, there's obvious reasons. Dr. Mishra mentioned about salaries. I'm a training program director. I teach younger doctors, and I never tell them talk about money. I'm trained not to talk about money, so unfortunately I wouldn't be able to. But yeah, no, working in the UK is great in a lot of ways, and financial remunerations there used to be a big differential when I started, when Dr. Kanhaiya started. There used to be a big differential from the salary that I got in Bihar and Jharkhand and the salary that I got in UK. But I think that disparity is bridging, or disparity is getting a lot less now. So that's not a huge motivating factors anymore, is what I would think. Some of my friends in Ranchi, they ask me, बस इतना ही कमाते हो, something like that. Oh, okay. Okay. So jokes apart, the training and teaching here is of a very high standard, world standard. I'm sure it's the same in Germany. I'm sure it's the same in most of the OECDs. I'm sure the teaching quality is improving drastically and dramatically in India as well, including my state, my city, Ranchi. 43 of the top UK universities are amongst the top 650 medical universities of the world, according to what are the news ranking. And I'm sure you're aware of the famous ones like Cambridge, Oxford, UCL, Imperial, London, King's College, and Dundee, and University of Edinburgh and whatnot. The graduates of MBBS from UK are not required to appear for foreign medical graduate examination to practice in India. I mean, I don't know of many who go back to practice in India, but people do, and you don't necessarily have to take an entrance exam because your degree is accepted or as assessed as competent to practice in India. Okay, Deepak ji.
Sorry, I move it forward.
Yeah. So let's talk about international applicants to medical school. Dr. Mishra again gave a very comprehensive again probably because he's in the kind of information world that he is in. I'll keep it a little short in the sense. It is still an evolving year. In my experience, I don't know many trainees, many younger people coming to do MBBS in UK. One, it is exhaustively time-taking, and secondly, it's very expensive as well, is what I would think. Well, okay, again, I should not use the word expensive. India is not a country that bothers about expense anymore. The application procedures for international students are the same, exactly same as the home students, and the process for home students is you need to be a good student in the sense I don't know whether you need to be a good student. You need to be a student who can get good marks. Dr. Kanhaiya was very good at getting good marks. I don't know whether he's a good student or not, but he was very good at getting good marks. Okay. So you should have good scores. We have at level year 10. You need to have a certain degree of standard, and that includes about, as they say, A star. A star would be above 90 or 92%. So you need to have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 A stars to be even considered, your application to be considered. So once that you have that standard, then you apply through at 1 year before you plan to join medical college. You apply through what we call 𝗀𝐾AS. 𝗀𝐾AS is University and Colleges Admissions Service. You apply through that on portal, and you apply to various colleges, and they would assess your suitability and then respond. And it is for the non-UK residents, the system is very similar. Yeah, there would be a mild variation in the sense that you not necessarily have to do an face-to-face interviews or what, but the process is very similar. And medical schools vary as to which non-UK qualifications they accept and what requirements are. So most of the medical colleges in UK will not accept an ISC as we used to call it, or +2 as it is called now in most of the states. That is including the twin states that I come from. The qualification that is considered for eligibility to apply would be international schools, as they call IBs, and those ICSC and CBSC. So Bihar board doesn't have a chance. Okay, I try to make it keep it humorous. Yeah, I'm sure there are other ways that I'm not aware of. Most medical schools have a dedicated admissions email address or phone number. I think that's the best way of doing it. Yeah, I'll give you some more information, but the best way is if you're interested in studying at Birmingham University or King's College London, then you should go to the website and they give you information how to proceed. The UK National Recognition Information Centre can also help compare UK and international qualifications. I can pass all this information to Gautamji, and if anybody's interested in going through the website, you're very welcome. Thank you. Next one, please.
So I think we are getting a flood of information. I don't know. I hope the audience are able to filter it out what they need, because everyone will not be interested in every information, but we have to go through this.
That's correct. This is what the problem is. It's such a vast topic, and I don't know how to make it very concise. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to go as quickly as possible. Now, somebody asked earlier on, is there a maximum age or a minimum age? The eligibility criteria, as I figured out recently, was the students must be more than 18 years of age, as it is here. They must have scored 90% in their 12th standard. They must be from international boards, or ICSC and CBSC, and the students must have cleared certain clinical aptitude tests. The commonest one is UCAT, and they also do BMAT. Some of the graduates take GAMSAT, so let's not go into that. The average cutoff scores is UKCAT 650. I would still consider is low. Majority of them would do a lot more than that. I'm sure our children who are doing medicine here have scored more than 650 in the UKCAT. Okay, next one, please. I'll try to match Dr. Mishra. These are but no, his was more very comprehensive. These are the requirements when you apply. You have to have a mark sheet of 10+2, any diploma certificate that will enhance your chances. You add them. A reference letter on your academics by any decent professor. In UK they are finicky about references. Work experience letters. Work experiences are again very important. Dr. Mishra has already explained it quite well, so I wouldn't expand on that. So work experience is considered as your what you call your interest in pursuing a particular or your demonstration of interest in pursuing that stream of your career. A personal statement is very important. I remember my son panicking around when he was writing his personal statement. It is to be done in a way that it is very attractive. It is purposeful, attractive, and it gets the job done. And a photocopy of your exams. On proof of funds. Okay, I can talk about the fund a little more, but yeah, this is important. I'll talk about how much money it is required to study here. Okay.
Yeah. So we are on the next slide.
Yeah. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah. So we are there.
Yeah. No. Next one.
Okay. Yeah. Next one.
Yeah. Okay. So. Before I speak about how much it costs to the young person who wants to study in medicine here, I'll give you a bit of a positive incentive. The scholarship, there's a scope to get scholarship here. Some of the scholarships, as are defined in various colleges, there could be up to £18,000. That is substantial, and as meager as £1,000 offered by Imperial College. And apart from scholarship, loans to study in UK can play a significant role. So people who come from India they do take loan from banks there and whatnot. And I understand once they come here, there's a scope to get some loan here as well. And again, as was mentioned earlier, there is scope to do work for 20 hours a week and that also adds to some of your costs. Okay, Deepak ji, next one. The publicly funded universities fee status. This probably may interest some of the parents. There are two categories: home and overseas. Between and they vary between universities and different countries of UK. Sometimes it's difficult to differentiate between England, Britain, Great Britain, and UK. But okay, we're not going to that. There's a disparity, not disparity. The fee structure is different among home and overseas applicants, and again, it varies in the different
So I just want to put here this, like as you said, that even the public university there is a tuition fee, and this is also varying. Whereas in Germany, the public universities are free of cost, so there is no tuition fee, irrespective of the nationality.
Yeah, no, so probably that's one of the reasons Germany is probably more advanced than UK. So what I would think. No, I wouldn't go into that. Okay. But the reason is here. Let's go back. Here the tuition fee school is free. Schooling is education in schools is free in this country, but education in college is expensive. It used to be £3,000 per year. Now it is £9,000 per year. So college qualification is considered to be something one to be proud of, and it's very expensive as well. So yeah, college education is expensive. Okay, next one. Yeah, so fee structure for IIMGs. Like I said, my son had to pay £3,000 for every year. My daughter had to pay £9,000 every year. But the international graduates, I mean, like I say, I wouldn't be able to give you an exact breakdown or exact answer, but this is a rough and approximate tuition fee. Then some of the universities will charge you upwards of £30,000 per year. And if you compute that to Indian rupees, that again comes to a vast amount. There are certain colleges which charges less. I understand Belfast has got the least fee structure, but then it's not just the fees. The average monthly cost of living can be broadly divided into 5 categories, including accommodation, food and transport, and miscellaneous. So accommodation is again could be expensive. Well, yeah, if you live in London, but if you live in Manchester or you live in Wolverhampton, it's not as expensive. It's a little more expensive in 𝗧𝗏𝗏, as where Dr. Kanhaiya lives.
That's why probably he's living there.
So accommodation is again variable to where you plan your medical education. If it is in the smaller cities like Belfast, not smaller cities, and less expensive, then the cost of living would be slightly less. And again, as it is very obvious, as Dr. Mishra mentioned earlier on. And food is important. Transport is expensive here. No matter whatever form of transport you use, it is expensive. I can't give you a breakdown. And they're miscellaneous, like you need to have internet, you need to have toiletries, you need to have clothes and whatnot. If I have to break it down, it would be around £800 to £1,000 every month. When I trained many years ago, I probably spent £250 or £300. Kanhaiya was a richer man. He used to spend £500, but I spent a lot less than that. Okay, so now it depends on your lifestyle as well. Like I say, I try to make it humorous just to emphasize that there is a whole range. And
just for the similarity, Sanjeevji, like in Germany also we say like 800 to 1,000 euro is like a rough estimation. Yeah. Similarly, exactly. In UK it is in the pound, so the numbers are nearly.
Yeah, number is exactly the same. I would be very surprised if there is any huge difference between standards and cost of living between Germany and UK. There will be certain differences, but not a huge difference. They're very similar countries.
Very true.
Yeah. So this is the cost, and this is a rough and approximate cost. It could be a little more than this. So if you're looking at again, I'm not an economist, and I wouldn't try to go into that. But if I have to, then I would say the cost would be nearly £40,000 or even slightly more every year, including your tuition. Okay, Gautamji. Now, the visa and immigration, the students require a Tier 4 visa. There are, again, lots of visas. No, I'm not an expert. So you'll have to refer to the websites. There's a Tier 4 visa, and the information could be found on websites. The Tier 4 visa basically means you could stay in this country till you have your trainee, you have your education, you become a doctor, and again, plus 4 or 6 months beyond that. But in my understanding, once you have passed your cleared exam, you're registered with the GMC, you can always get your visas altered or changed. This is the requirement early stages. Again, Dr. Mishra has given it in great details.
Yeah, it is exactly the same. So we can skip this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Again, there is a requirement to have show your
language proficiency.
Proficiency in English, and IELTS is the one that we use. The IELTS can be taken in multiple centers in India. The minimum score to do a medical education is 7, and the individual components would have 6.5 in individual, but overall 7. Okay, next one. St. George's University of London has given the following 7 steps to help before you start. I think that will be useful. Like I say, entering into medical education in England is a big ask on the individual and on the family. So it should be well planned. So plan ahead. Again, very well explained by Dr. Mishra. So identify your options, consider studying abroad, get work experience, apply to 4 medical colleges, take the CAT, and apply through UCAS. Next one, please. These are the useful contacts. Again, they would be forwarded to Dr. Sagar, and you can use it if you need me. If you need this, I'm quite happy if you come through to International Doctors Association. I'm sure you will find me there, and we'll be happy to help in whatever form. This is areas where I got some information from, and there's a lot of again. I'm sure Dr. Mishra would have friends who would be working here who would be advising young people how to get through the nitty-gritty of applying to get through the different hoops of the system. And I think that's enough. You had enough from me. If you have any questions, I'm quite happy to answer in group or even in private. Though I wouldn't charge for it though. Okay.
So thank you very much, Sanjeevji, for making such a detailed presentation. And of course, there's a lot of information for all of us.